Where are the low-value men?
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site. You can believe that. You can believe that. You can believe that.
Contracted COVID, but says with a mixture of medicines, including the controversial horse dewormer that has poisoned hundreds of people nationwide, he's now recovered.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
From the headlines to the whisper star, low value mail, low value mail at 9 o'clock. We're truth fiction, take a walk.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Our stories are.
Welcome back, everybody, to an all-new episode of Low Value Mail on this Monday, February 9th, 2026, the year of our Lord. Welcome back. As you see at the beginning, I put up a nice little new thing, a little screen at the start of the show, listing off, I know you're like, is VIP spelled wrong? No, it's VIS, very important scrotes. Those are people who pay $10 or more a month to support the show. You can join, or you can upgrade your membership and be added to the Scrote Wall of Fame. And also, as always, you can support the show without money. Just like the stream, share with a friend, leave a comment, follow on Spotify if you listen there. Or if you would like to join the Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL, or you can become a channel member. Also, a note for the Patreon, nobody left any voicemails. I announced last week that I was going to do a Patreon episode where I listened to some voicemails. There weren't any. That weren't just people hanging up. So back to the drawing board. Also, if you join the Patreon, you can DM me directly and give me suggestions on something you'd like to see. I haven't quite figured out the right thing yet, but my inbox is open. And also the bathhouse we'll be back tomorrow night. We have 3 episodes minimum remaining. Shout out to Kenny Rogers for all the super chats last week. Bought us 2 extra weeks. If you want to help the show continue on, you can just join the Save the Bathhouse tier here on YouTube. And if not, don't sweat it. And I got my Wayne Gretzky jersey on because the Olympics are starting. Well, they've started, and we got some hockey coming up. We have a hot tweet off the press from Donald Trump. This is from, this is technically a truth from within the last hour. He says, as everyone knows, the country of Canada has treated the United States very unfairly for decades. Now things are turning around for the USA and fast. But imagine Canada is building a massive bridge between Ontario and Michigan. They own both the Canada and the United States side, and of course, built it with virtually no U.S. content. President Barack Hussein Obama, I love how he still puts the Hussein in there, stupidly gave them a waiver so they could get around the Buy American Act and not use any American products, including our steel. Now the Canadian government expects me, as President of the United States, to permit them to just take advantage of America. What does the United States of America get? Absolutely nothing. Ontario won't even put U.S. spirits, beverages, and other alcoholic products on their shelves. They're absolutely prohibited from doing so. And now, on top of everything else, Prime Minister Carney wants to make a deal with China, which will eat Canada alive. We'll just get the leftovers. I don't think so. The first thing China will do is terminate all ice hockey being played in Canada and permanently eliminate the Stanley Cup. And it goes on. So China's looking to get rid of the Stanley Cup, apparently. Last I checked, I believe there's 32 teams in the NHL. 26 of them are in America. I don't know how China's takeover of Canada could unilaterally just end the NHL. Also, it takes 2 seconds. You look into it and you're like, Canada's actually paying for the bridge, $4 billion. They're paying the entire cost of this bridge. And then I believe they get the revenues from the bridge, toll revenues for 50 years, at which point then the U.S. and Canada split it. There's another bridge, the Ambassador Bridge. I didn't know this until 20 minutes ago. It's owned by some guy. Some guy just owns this bridge. This Lebanese dude just owns this massive bridge to go from Detroit to Windsor, which is pretty crazy. Also, the bridge is called the Gordie Howe Bridge, which maybe was the most surprising thing of all of this. Is I was like, wait, they named a bridge after a white hockey player? I mean, Gordie Howe's the man. Legend. Absolute legend. Legendary hockey player. But I was like, they named the bridge after Gordie Howe? And then I looked, and the idea, they started on the bridge like 25 years ago when this kind of first started getting kicked around. So that makes sense. 25 years ago, they called it the Gordie Howe Bridge. Now they call it the Pradeep Singh Bridge. That's more in line with Canada's values. And also, we have a super chat goal. If you guys want me to do extra 45 minutes, I will. If not, also don't worry about it. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to open the phone lines in not too long. We have Gerard taking your calls. So I don't know if any of you watched the Super Bowl last night. I did love. I mean, I'll tell you. I don't know if other Jews find this, but the whole thing where everybody's like, "Did you all enjoy the Goy Bowl?" I can't even say it without laughing. That's how funny this shit is to me. Super Bowl last night, crappy game. Not great. Congrats to longtime listener Jim from Washington on a Seahawks victory. I'm sure he's pretty pumped about that. I know he was not pumped about his Seattle Mariners losing to the Toronto Blue Jays in the ALCS. Regardless, they would have got smoked by the Dodgers. Doesn't matter. But an ad for Ring doorbells aired, which caused some very real concern. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to play it for you now.
This is Milo. Pets are family. But every year, 10 million go missing. And the way we look for them hasn't changed in years. Until now. One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs. Since launch, more than a dog a day has been reunited with their family. Be a hero in your neighborhood with Search Party. Available to everyone for free right now. Join the neighborhood at ring.com.
All right, so you saw that. Hopefully the audio worked. I tested it. It should have. What I made a point not to do was look at the chat, where you all were like, the audio doesn't work. Last time I did this, the audio worked fine. And then I turned it off. It's a win for the Scroats. I will concede. This time I go, not even looking at the chat. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I'm just standing here with my fucking dick in my hand, just looking at it. Probably in the future, if I do, when I play videos, I should do a full screen, so I'm not just standing there, just being like... Anyways, a lot of people very concerned about this Ring Super Bowl ad. You go, concerned? We're just finding lost dogs. What is concerning about that? So, interesting. 10 million pets go missing per year. That's a lot, obviously. I assume that's worldwide. That can't just be in America. That's impossible. Probably a bunch of them, a lot of them are winding up on dinner plates in third world countries, unfortunately. You know, don't tell that to your kids. They'll probably start crying and stuff. But that's probably what's happening. But a lot of pets going missing. So Ring has this novel new system where all Ring users have their camera constantly on. Unless they opt out, which is interesting. You don't need to opt into this. You need to opt out of this. And what happens is if their little AI pet tracker thing happens to locate a missing pet, the owner of that specific Ring camera that found said pet then needs to opt in to share it, basically saying, hey, my camera found your pet. They get to decide. So be nice to your neighbors, people, because they could know where your fucking lost dog is. And if they can choose not to tell you if you're kind of being a prick to them. So be nice to your neighbors. Pretty sure Jesus said that. Me, Jesus, the two of us, be nice to your neighbors. The feature isn't actually new, by the way. Everybody's up in arms. They're like, oh my God, Not new. Okay, they've had this for at least a few months. Is how it looks. This has been a feature. I don't have a Ring doorbell. I live in an apartment building. I'm a New York City bug man, but from the sounds of it, this has been around for a few months. We just know about it now because of this Super Bowl ad. Ring's new feature finds about 1 pet per day. I imagine that they're fast and loose with the stats here. They're like 10 million pets go missing, but they're like, but we're finding 1 a day in America. 1. You're finding 1 a day. And here's the thing. You can already buy a $20 GPS tracker for your pet's collar if you got a runner, right? So the real question is whether this even solves a pet problem, or really why they need optical surveillance in 20 million homes to do it. Is that needed? Do they need that? Again, one pet per day, 365 a year. Really, that's even less impressive because pets often just come back, from what I understand. I've never lost a pet. I know many people who have lost cats. Cats are fucking bastards. Cats will just leave and will never come back. Dogs, for the most part, I feel like come back. Probably more so than cats, but sometimes they don't. But I feel like for the most part, they come back anyways. You're like, oh, my pet ran away, and then the Ring cam found it 2 hours later, and you're like, yeah, he was just like down the street. He was going to come back for dinner. Not that impressive. A lot of people speaking out against this. Many people trying to find out how to disable this feature. There's a lot of people, if you go online right now, people are like, how the fuck do I turn this off? My question is, does this really matter? Really? Is where we are going here kind of inevitable? It does feel that way, where this is all just inevitable, and we can be like, I don't like my Ring camera doing that. Like everybody's Tesla has cameras in them. There's cameras everywhere. Like even if every Ring user, this is 20, probably around from what I could find, 20 million in the US alone, turned off this feature, would it matter at all? And, a lot of the standard comment is this is so dystopian. They can just turn on every camera in your neighborhood. And you're like, yeah, there's tons of cameras in your neighborhood already, regardless of this pet tracking thing. And it gets worse. And look, realistically, they're just ignoring the fact that we're already living in a dystopia. I think we're there. I don't think this notion of like, oh, this pet tracking thing, that's it. It's dystopia time now. I'm like, I think we're already there. Obviously, if this works for missing pets, it works for missing people. Although clearly the tech isn't there yet because they still haven't found Savannah Guthrie's mom, if you're following that story. But cameras are literally everywhere. And every day there's more cameras than there were before, which still is interesting when sometimes you'll see like some sort of CCTV video from some like business. Usually it's a murder or something, and you're like, it's pretty grainy still. Be like a black and white grainy thing. You're like, have we not figured this out? But they're everywhere. You go through the airport now, they're scanning your face constantly. It's not just at the TSA checkpoint where they're like, hey, can you take off your hat and take a photo to match your passport or whatever? You walk around the terminal, they are scanning your face constantly. And that's not just out in public. I think really the main thing here is, and I know a lot of you probably don't feel this way, but I really think most people don't care about being under a constant state of surveillance. I don't think people give a shit. As much as you guys probably do not want this where you live, probably just the reality where everyone's like, yeah. And it's funny because people will shit talk China for being the surveillance state, and you go, are we much different? Are we that much different? The only way to opt out of this is by not living in a city, maybe even a town, to be honest. You have to really live in the fucking sticks. Which brings us to Flock, if you recall, we would have maybe talked about this 6 months, maybe sometime last year, maybe in the summertime. Maurice from Denver had called in. Maurice, famously a ketamine addict. But he had called in about this several months ago, saying that he lived in Denver. They were testing Flocks. Denver, I guess, was like the test ground for these Flock cameras, right? And if you don't know about Flock, they operate these license plate readers across 5,000 communities in 49 states. unlike traffic cameras, they don't enforce traffic laws. They exist exclusively for surveillance and criminal investigation. They also developed this product called the Raven. Sounds ominous. The Raven, a gunfire locator that records audio in 5-second increments using AI to detect gunshots. And they recently announced that the Raven would listen for human distress. So they're not only recording us constantly, they're also listening to us. And, you know, they have these in 5,000 communities. Give this 5 years. These will cover every square mile of inhabited land in this country. Very likely. Flock CEO Garrett Langley said on the Logan Bartlett show, which I think I referenced this before, but this is just so crazy. He said this. He says, I do generally think that in 10 years from now, Flock will have eliminated crime in America. Completely eliminated. There'll be no crime. None. More specifically, Langley offered a prediction to Forbes that in less than 10 years, Flock's cameras, airborne and fixed, will eradicate almost all crime in the U.S., period. He also said, I think we can have a crime-free city and civil liberties. We can have it all. Can we? That would be nice. But there's actual proof that, you know, that's probably not true. There was a report in, this is from late last year, the Electronic Frontier Foundation. I imagine they're like some anti-gizmos website. I don't know. Probably not the best way to describe it. But, you know, they're probably against all this surveillance stuff. Released an investigation showing police use Flock to track women seeking abortions in Texas, illegal abortions, the worst kind, and to monitor protesters. They also use them, and this was a big scandal, to track gypsies, which apparently is a slur now. Did you know that? The gypsies is a slur? I thought that's just what I honestly was like, that's what they, I remember hearing maybe 20 years ago, you go, you know, when you say gypping someone, that's racist because that's short for gypsies. That's kind of like saying you Jew someone. You go, but gypsies, I thought gypsies was fine, but apparently gypsies is a slur now is what the people are saying. News to me. I'm sure many of you are fine with some of those uses. I'm sure some of you are like, yeah, let's get these illegal abortion havers and protesters. But of course, it'll only be until they do something that affects you personally, and then you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't like this anymore. And they will. That is a guarantee at this point. So we're gonna have cameras everywhere. And this is the fun part, constant drone surveillance. That one, I guess you could assume was gonna be on the table, but that one felt like a bit of a bridge too far. Just constant drone surveillance. But maybe that's what they were testing in New Jersey back in the winter a couple years ago. Remember that? Winter of 2024? No, that wasn't even a couple years ago. That was like a year and a half ago. But remember they had all those drones flying around? Maybe that was what that was about. They're just spying on us. That would make the most amount of sense. So cameras everywhere. Fourth Amendment doesn't appear to apply to public places when it comes to surveillance either. So I guess we're just frogs slowly boiling in a pot right now, aren't we? Just boiling away. And here's where this kind of all connects. And we're going to open the phone lines very shortly. But Amazon, Ring's owner, just made a deal with Flock. Now, Ring users can voluntarily share their doorbell footage with law enforcement that uses Flock software. So suddenly those 20 million Ring cameras become part of a national surveillance network. The consumer and the cop infrastructure merge into one. It's not two separate things anymore. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, I forgot to do something. I always forget. I'm fucking retarded. My bad. Hold on. I always forget one thing, and that is to mute all people upon entry. There we go. That's done. Anyways, that's kind of all I was going to say about that, other than the fact that thank you for that person who just coughed too. And this is the second deal, bring the Amazon Ring security tech into law enforcement market in new ways. With Ring Also announcing a similar effort with Axon, who makes those fancy body cameras. And here's the thing. Probably a lot of people saw that pet commercial last night and they go, I should get a Ring camera. So it might be 20 million now, but a lot of people think, I don't want to lose Fido and I don't want to buy a fucking $20 GPS collar or $60 or whatever. So we're probably fucked. Probably fucked. You guys can let me know, chat. What do you think? Are we fucked? Seems like it. Seems not good. I'm going to open the phone lines now. 1-888-949-2969. We're going to talk about Epstein briefly, because what would an episode of Low Value Mail be without talking about Epstein? Just briefly. Tons of new documents have been unearthed. They're coming out every day. And look, I understand it takes time to go through 3.5 million documents. I'm sure more will come. Apparently, they have 2 to 3 million that they haven't released. So if something bad happens, maybe we'll get some of those. Remember how we were all talking about the ICE shootings in Minneapolis? And then they just go, here's some Epstein files. And they go, what happened in Minneapolis? I don't even remember. I love that no politicians are getting in any trouble for this stuff. Zero. None. At least in the United States. In the UK, members of Keir Starmer's Labour Party are calling for his resignation because he appointed Peter Mandelson to be ambassador to the U.S. Do you understand how insane that is? Zero politicians in trouble so far. And probably there won't be any, because why wouldn't they have been in trouble previously? Again, how bad does that look if it takes literal internet sleuths to figure all this shit out? Zero in trouble so far. None. The UK, they're like, our prime minister might have to step down over this. Can someone tell me what fucking sense that makes? There was a reporter for the Telegraph in the UK. Poppy Wood put out an article today showing evidence that Epstein had his house wired up with cameras. Stuff we've all heard before and suspected, but now actual proof, like real proof, like real no fooling proof. Like she had credit card statements from this Fort Lauderdale spy shop and emails that like actual evidence, like real, like in a court of law, they would be like, yeah, this holds up. Again, no charges for anybody, nothing. There is another document though, and this stuff is none of it makes sense. Okay. There's a document from the files I was reading. This is an email to Kash Patel and Dan Bongino from the New York FBI office stating that there were actually no cameras found after searching his residence in 2019, and no evidence of crimes being committed by anyone other than Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. So this woman, this reporter, basically went through the Epstein files, found some credit card statements, verified that there were spy cameras set up, that he wanted them set up everywhere. The FBI, on the other hand, and this is a recent email, this is from sometime 2025, they were like, no, based on our 29, they went in there and didn't find one camera. Now, maybe he took them out. I guess that's possible. Interesting that they just happened to, they had all these files. You have all this fancy AI and all this shit, and you missed this one? Okay. All right. Thomas Massey Rokana got to review unredacted Epstein files today for 2 hours. They noted there were 6 men whose names were redacted for no apparent reason. And again, 2 hours to look at 3.5 million files. They probably looked at a stack. I don't know how much you could do in 2 hours. But even in the short period of time, they're like, yeah, we found 6 men who, for no apparent reason, their names were redacted. One, a very prominent American business person, I believe. One high-level foreign politician. Again, the only question with any of this is, will anybody be prosecuted for this? Probably not. Are we going to be talking about this in 10 years from now? Still? Probably. Will anyone have been convicted then? Probably not. Maybe fucking Lord Mandelson. Mandelson. Will we still think the government lies to us and covers stuff up? Yes. But we already thought that. This is what I said 6 months ago when I was like, this shit's stupid. It's all we're doing is confirming our originally held beliefs here. We go, the government lies to us. Let's find proof that they lied to us. If you don't find proof, they're lying to us. If you do find proof, they lied to us. Probably just stick to, yeah, they lie to us. And there's so much weird shit. There was a commercial came out yesterday. I don't think they didn't air it during the Super Bowl because they couldn't afford to, because it's like $8 to $10 million. But it was all these Epstein survivors, and they're asking for the truth to come out. And I'm like, okay, then just why don't you go ahead and just name one other person who perpetrated a crime against you? There's like 8 of you. I mean, we know about Epstein and Maxwell. Just name one. 8 of you. Name one. Doesn't even have to be like some prominent person. Just name one person. If this was this crazy sex trafficking network, surely you have just give us a description. Give us a physical, maybe you didn't even know their names. Maybe you were so fucked up. Do your best to talk to a sketch artist. Just give us roughly what these people looked like. Roughly. One person. Are we going to get that? No. So this is all a bit of a fun distraction. It feels like a colossal waste of time, but who knows? Maybe more stuff will come out. I don't know. I'm just black-pilled on this completely, obviously, where I'm just like, they're just rubbing it in our fucking faces is what they're doing. Resist the something or other says, I can't wait for the 2030 Olympics when Alberta is represented. I don't know how good of a team Alberta would have, to be honest, in hockey. It's mostly like Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia really punches above their weight. And shout out to Count Basty for becoming a member of the Low Value Mail channel. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's some good hockey players from Alberta, but I don't know how many good ones there are. Also, the fact that Russia's still not allowed to play kind of sucks. I don't know. I know some people are like Dominic Hasek. I don't know if you remember Dominic Hasek. He's one of the best goalies of all time. I don't know if anybody here even gives a shit about hockey, but one of the best goalies of all time. He's like basically saying Nikita Kucherov is complicit in the Russian-Ukraine war because he plays in the NHL. It makes no sense. Go look at Dominic Hasek's Twitter feed. It's a whole lot of absolute nonsense. All right, let's take some calls now. Let's take some calls. The phone lines are open. 1-888-949-2969. And if you get through, stay on the line. We shall get to you. We got Rick up first. Rick, are you there?
Yes. I'm here, Danny. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's happening?
Hey, I was just listening to what you were saying there. Is this like, are they just rubbing it into our faces, or is a part of me wants to believe that they're so incompetent that they just tried to use some cheap AI to go through certain things and
cheap AI. They have
black out certain
a
names.
literal unlimited budget. They're the federal government. They can print money. How could they be like, we have budget cuts?
True, but weren't they using like some third-party communication platform that was like, it was like surprising everybody, like Signal or something between like, some cheap.
Well, yeah, when they were, they had that thing where they were planning that maybe the Iran Fordo bombing, the nuclear facility, and they had like a Signal chat because there was that reporter who found himself accidentally inside of a Signal chat that was like planning some bombing mission. So look, I'm sure they make mistakes here. But you're trying, like, and maybe they do some things that are stupid, but to say that they're like, there's just what they missed it. They couldn't how many FBI agents are there? Like literally, there must be tens of thousands of them.
It is crazy. Like I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate on that. I don't necessarily believe that. I mean, dude, they were so careful about stuff. Okay, I remember probably about 20 years ago or so, I was just a total regular, didn't really think about politics at all. And then somehow I just went down this rabbit hole in high school. I think I might have been sick and on the internet. And I stumbled onto the Franklin scandal documentary.
Yeah, we had Nick Bryan's been on the show a couple times before.
Yeah. And when I was watching that, I remember in my head, I was like, this isn't real. I'm too smart to fall for this. And then they showed the interviews with the kids. And I remember just feeling like my insides just like melted inside of me. It was so disgusting. It really shook me up.
And they had like that investigator's plane just blew up in the middle of the fucking air.
Gary Caradori, I think his name was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I went back to just being a normie, basically. I was like, I can't even handle this information. And I would try to find it. I'd be like, well, years later, it would still kind of haunt me. Like 10 years later, maybe I was like, maybe I probably came home drunk one night and I was like, you know what? I'm going to check on that. Let me look on YouTube. There's nothing. I try to Google Franklin scandal online, Wikipedia, never happened. Reddit, never happened, all over. But dude, Danny, all of a sudden, like, it's everywhere. It's getting pushed to me on my YouTube algorithm endlessly. Like, want to hear more? What's the latest with Lawrence E. King? Is he still a boy-hungry pedophile? Like, they're just, I don't know. They're just kind of going mask off with everything. They're letting it all flow. And I don't know, it's weird. Like, you hear certain theories like, oh, they're just seeing who's interacting with it and who they're going to put on their list and stuff. And it's like, well, I've heard the list theory many times before, since all the way back in Obama. So are they really going to do camps this time? I don't know. It's great. It's dizzying, man.
No, I mean,
hard to keep
yeah. Like the whole thing with the Epstein stuff is you're like, okay, will one person besides Epstein and Maxwell go to jail over this? Will there be one?
Man, I think during Franklin's scandal, people did go to jail. It was the victims. It was, Owens.
Alicia Owens. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. There's so many, like, it's, because I hear, like, Michael Tracy was on the show, and Michael Tracy is basically the biggest Epstein conspiracy theorist that exists currently, in that he's like, nothing happened. He's like, it was just a whole lot of nothing. But I'm like, it's hard to believe that you're like, this is just nothing. There's just like nothing here. And I do go back and forth where sometimes I'm like, yeah, there's some stuff where you're like, yeah, I can see how this is overblown. But then you see certain things and you're just like, okay, well, this doesn't seem like nothing. Like, I'm not of the person who's like all the grape juice and like the pizza stuff and all the jerky stuff, where I'm like, I don't know about that. And like, that stuff doesn't ring specific alarm bells, but there's lots of stuff where you're like, there's probably something here. It's not nothing. Like, for them to be like, yeah, this is nothing.
Right.
We put 10,000 FBI agents on 6 million documents or whatever, 5 million documents. And they're just like, yeah, just a guy, just a sick pervert.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you just keep hearing the same sorts of stories from random people that were like maybe related with celebrities or former celebrities or what have you. And they just make these remarks where it's like, why would you say something like that? Like, I remember, there was that one quote from Mel Gibson. And I know that, Mel Gibson, there's lots of fake quotes out there from him, but I think this one's real, where he basically is like, yeah, they're like eating the blood of children, which if you hear that back then, you're like, okay, that's just like, they say he's just saying that to get a rise out of people. But there's like enough people saying that they do weird stuff where it's like, I don't know, man, there's got to be something weird going on.
There's got to be one thing. Like, there's got to be one person who committed a crime. That seems like, the thing is, it's so, like, if you look into, especially any of these like super, high level people, is like, if you, it's like, if you start really looking into them, I'm sure you can find some crimes. And then there's all these, documents.
Yeah,
and like, I don't know. It seems, but again, you're like, will anything come of it, or they're just gonna be like? Because I mean, I can't remember his name, but the guy who released who did the press conference and really, I don't know if he's the attorney general or what. He's just like, yeah, there'll be no further charges. He's like, here are all the documents, but there's no more charges coming. So just go enjoy yourself, go have fun. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely towards that black pill edge with you, but I have family. I'm trying to, fulfill that role of being a dad that's not just in Doomerville in my head all day. So, I try to snap out of that.
I mean, the thing is like, on a local level, you're like, this doesn't really affect you personally, obviously. Like, besides, maybe some errant use of tax money, which is happening regardless of, in a million different directions. But I mean, this doesn't really affect people. You're just like, yeah, these fucking elites are up to some heinous shit. And you go, honestly, if you ask me, that's probably what I thought anyways. And the difference is they're kind of getting away with it in front of our face.
Yeah, and that stuff goes downstream too. If it's like, oh, they're getting away with it up there, like, I don't know. I feel like that kind of stuff it flows downstream. And to bring it back to the Franklin scandal, that was definitely downstream. That was local police. They were involved. Yeah. They were helping run it. And, and I don't say this lightly as a Catholic, but there was a big Catholic community there, Boys Town, was run by a well-respected priest. You know, and it wasn't started like that. It used to be a really great place. John DeCamp went there and he had a good experience, but yeah, Boys Town, they were, you know, pandering or peddling children, boys out of there, boys in need. And as a Catholic, I'll say any priest they ever find doing any of that, do the worst to them. I do not care.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't defend them. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be like a partisan,
you know.
Yeah, partisan issue. You're just like, yeah, if you're fucking trafficking, especially like kids who are, you know, like down on their luck, you're like, you may be one of the biggest pieces of shit of all time. Like, it's like, you know, arguably
it's
maybe the scummiest thing you could do is you're like kids who are like desperate and fucked up to be like, yeah, I'm going to start trafficking these guys to like rich elites. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Truly demonic. Demonic. One thing on a somewhat lighter note that kind of is tied to my local area, and who knows, maybe you could argue it's tied to elites. People say that, you know, they're flooding Western countries with people from other countries for whatever. Maybe it's economic reasons, maybe it's for other reasons.
Voting reasons.
You know, in my area and and all my friends in other you know, major metro areas, they're noticing obviously a huge population influx of Indians. And I grew up around Indians. I almost had, well, I have some of my family. So, you know, not trying to come and be in just straight up,
yeah, but
you know, angry or whatever.
You're just noticing that it's
but it's weird. But yeah, but on a lighter note, this was kind of funny. So I saw something pop up. And it was basically like, it showed these two SWAT teams and they were competing, doing all these different, you know, whatever their conditioning, you know, obstacle course, all this intense stuff, you know, carrying these heavy, you know, what should be like a body. It's like a dummy, but it's hundreds of pounds and, you know, sharpshooting and all this. And they're doing it as a team, these two SWAT teams. And it's the India men's team versus the Chinese women's team. And like the Chinese women's team dominates them.
No way.
And I thought that was a little bit. Yes, way.
The Chinese win, really?
And then
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, dominated them. And what was kind of funny, like I've heard stuff like that before, you know, and I've heard theories. It's like, oh well, they never eat any beef, they, you know, so they don't get that you know, whatever the kind of protein they need or something. But anyways, I won't go into that. But it was funny if you look at the Olympics. They do very poorly in the Olympics. If you look at other countries compared to them that have gone as many times as them, they're like at the bottom, basically, bottom couple maybe. But here's the kicker, Danny. This I found to be worth calling in for. In the Special Olympics, they like kick ass.
No way.
Special Olympics, they do really well. And I'm in no way trying to make fun of the bros.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just
I'm not making fun of the bros.
It just is what it is. You know, it's just. Yeah.
But here's the last thing I wanted to add in. So in their own courts in India, they've been saying that there's been like reports that it's because they're actually bringing in people that are not special needs.
That's literally what I was just about to say. Actually, when you said that to me, is that I was like, it sounds like they're sandbagging it a little. And they're showing up and they're like, yeah, I have a thing. And they're like, because it's probably not cool to really interrogate them on what their handicap is. It's like probably a little like, you know, just frowned upon.
So one case specifically, oh, sorry, Danny. One case specifically was, it came from their own court. It was in India. It was their own court. And they were like, yeah, first of all, most of the people they're bringing in, it's nepotism. Which, hate to rag on that stereotype, but, you know,
sure.
That's kind of a thing with how
I mean, they have like a well-known caste system, maybe the most famous caste system in the world. For them to be like nepotistic for this kind of thing is like not at all surprising.
100%. And in the specific case that I first saw when I looked this up, it was just a person that just had a hearing problem, and that was it. They had no cognitive issues at all.
Really?
They just had a hearing problem.
Just a little like bad. Yeah, they have 2 gold medals since 1984. Basically, 40 years. They got 2 gold medals. They They got 7 silvers and probably like 20 bronze medals. 2, 4, 8. 17 bronze medals. Not great for a country that's 1.4 billion people. You would think I guess I don't know. Do they not put money into their... Actually, that can't be I was going to say, do they not put money into their program? But that probably isn't the issue at all.
I think nepotism is a problem, but I do think, dude, I think it's a lack of nutrition, man. It's the not eating cows. Like they literally...
But they eat chicken, don't they?
India, yeah. So if you go to a McDonald's out there, like they'll have chicken on the menu. But a lot of people, they're just vegetarian as well.
Yeah.
So, no offense to my vegetarians out there, but
sure.
Man, I'm telling you. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's a major indicator. I saw this might be bro science, but when I saw some people trying to like get me on the carnivore wagon, they were like, dude, look at the Vikings. They were living in an area where there was like no fruit, no veggies almost. It was all just meat, and they're gigantic. And if you're big, that means it's that you're more healthy.
I mean, it doesn't hurt
like bro science,
to like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt probably to like pack on, some weight if you are eating tons of protein. I mean, do they drink milk? Are they allowed to drink milk from a cow? Or is that
dude?
No milk.
No,
that's probably
like they use
them
like
too.
tea.
Yeah,
dude, you got to get on the milk. I mean, you got a kid now. I'm sure your kid, you've seen it. Like my kid's put away.
I have no children.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I got that from.
Yeah,
Never mind.
No children. But at some point, and the kid will drink milk. That's for sure.
You're damn right.
Yeah, but that is a pretty good explanation. But that is funny that they're lying to get in the Special Olympics just to dominate it. Doesn't help the stereotypes very much. That's for sure.
It does not help the stereotypes. I've got some really fantastic Indians that go to my church. But yeah, there's definitely some cultural issues there.
That's pretty funny.
There's some issues.
Very
sure.
funny. All right,
I gotta go to Costco too.
Oh, interesting.
Sorry,
all right, I gotta let you go.
Appreciate
But thanks for calling in, man. That is so funny that they're lying to get in the Special Olympics. I'd go ahead and say it's not cool. It's not cool. All right, let's go to Eli. Let's see if we can find their Special Olympics totals here. Indian gold medals at the they call it the Paralympics now? Oh, 8 golds, 18 silver. Oh, they do a lot better. Yeah. All right, Eli's not picking up here. Let's try somebody else. Hello.
Hey.
What's happening? What's
Hello.
going on? Dylan, everybody. Shaking.
So we were talking in the Patreon chat, and I just want people to remember how up in arms we were about the Haitians eating the cats and dogs.
Yes.
And then Trump goes and wants to bring in, 30 billion more Chinese over here to have an entire dog eating festival. And
I mean, this might be a good advertisement for those Ring cameras.
Yeah, and they're known to eat all sorts of indigenous animals, like our pigeons and our rats.
Yeah. I don't mind if they eat the rats. I don't honestly, if they want to eat the rats, as long as they're not like clogging up the hospitals.
Those are our rats. Okay.
With their disease. I don't know what the rat situation's like where you live, but where I live, it's fairly bad. And if they want to eat the rats, have you ever seen that video of? I think it's like in Central Park. It's like a Chinese woman, and she's just like grabbing little birds and putting them in a grocery bag.
Yeah, the pigeons. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just basically stealing. I mean, they live differently. I remember when I was in Vietnam and I was talking to some guy, and he's like, "Yeah, we eat dogs," but he's like, "But they're not like pets." He's like, "I have a dog that's a pet." He's like, "Well, I would never eat my pet." He's like, "We just eat dogs, you know."
Well, they also, I started to tell you about they also eat this amazing thing called a Chinese virgin boy egg.
Ugh.
And what it is they gather urine from the local schools. They put out little totes for them to contribute urine from the school-age boys that they go on and boil hard-boiled eggs or soft-boiled eggs in it. And yeah, these are the people that they want to bring over here that are making these bio labs with the Israelis that keep managing to be let off back to their country.
I mean, they literally. They caught some woman who was trying to bring in like some fungus to basically like kill all our crops here.
Yeah, they're. I mean, the entire university system where I was at previously was infiltrated and like got sued for having a bunch of basically spies in the actual university in the medical program, because they're one of the bigger medical schools in the country.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with the Chinese. I mean, obviously they're not all spies. That too, but they're not all spies. But you kind of do have to treat them like they're all spies. Just the way the Communist Party works is kind of everybody. You don't know their specific allegiances to them, unfortunately.
Well, it's not even just that. Is that they can be unknowing spies. But yeah, you're right. Like the only thing that I've ever laughed at that Sam Tripoli said was that they tried to use facial recognition software in China and it didn't work.
I mean, that is funny. But the crazy thing is they all do look the same, and it does work. Probably works really well. That's the scary part. Is they probably can tell all the differences between all these people. If anything, there's probably way more advanced than ours.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has to be. I mean, they're working with a harder subject matter.
Yeah, that's true.
But you were talking about I guess we were starting off with pets and the flock cameras.
Yeah.
And a while ago, I started talking about that as well, where they installed it on FedEx trucks to be license plate readers.
Okay.
And so not only does FedEx capture all this information and send it to the police headquarters, but also FedEx gets their own backdoor to police records as well.
Why would FedEx need that?
Why would they? And on top of that, guess who's been firing a bunch of American workers and hiring H-1Bs that are from India? FedEx.
Interesting.
The other thing that they're doing is there's a thing now on top of with your deliveries. You know how like if you ever, well, you probably don't live in a neighborhood with like houses. You probably live in like one of these
I live in
slum kind of like prison
basically
colonies.
Yes, I live in a tenement is what they call them, or what they used to call them 100 years ago.
Yeah, so where I live, we actually have like roads and sidewalks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And these delivery drivers, they're always playing their music and always have their phone on them. Well, there's also a thing, this one channel called Black Hat Hacking channel on YouTube. There's a video about DDNS mapping, which is, you know how when you go to pair something with your Bluetooth?
Yeah. Oh, the thing where you can scramble it?
Well, so every time that somebody, particularly with like Apple iPhones, and you can opt out of it now, but what happens is whenever somebody is traveling around with a Apple iPhone, and I think maybe the Androids are doing it now too, is it pings off of anything that has that ability. So it makes a map and then keeps it in a database for about 3 days. And if it doesn't re-ping again, make contact with another device like that, then they can track everything. So on top of that, like with the license plate readers, they're actually making all these maps. And the bad thing is these what it makes a map of is your MAC address for the device, and they were able to hack the MAC addresses. And usually that wouldn't be a problem, but they were able to go and start narrowing it down to specific regions where these MAC addresses are. So like basically your phone or whatever device is that's on this mapping and is like a publicly available, like find your device.
Yeah, similar to like
program.
how the air tags work as well and stuff.
So you can technically stalk somebody by having this DNS mapping technology, and they were able to break it down on this video that I was watching.
And are they linked? Like, can you find out the MAC address, like that it belongs to a specific person, or is it just kind of just the MAC address?
I think they could just track it where it was, but I mean, if you have, I don't remember the specifics because it's been probably like a year or so since I watched this video.
And would they have patched?
But
Like, is that something where they find out about it and they just like, it's a vulnerability and they patch it?
No, they made it so you can opt out because of these guys that were like white hat hackers went and kept presenting it to them and they weren't doing anything about it. And they finally made Apple go ahead and let you opt out of being included in this.
And you can do that in your phone?
No, you have to go. Well, you have to, like, I guess, contact them or whatever.
Them and just say, I want to opt out, which nobody will do.
Yeah.
Like, literally nobody. Interesting. Yeah. I don't... that whole FedEx thing's weird. I didn't like the fact that... I mean, I'm sure they pay them. They go, here's like fucking $10 a month. Plaster one of these things on in your dashboard or something?
It's on the back of the trucks. Is that what you're talking about?
Or it's on, or whatever on the back of the flock camera. But like, how much could they possibly be paying FedEx? That it would, FedEx is what, like a $100 billion company? Could this really like?
I mean, all those companies, they worked in tangent. I mean, they're working constantly with Amazon, and Amazon is not exactly the greatest about their intentions as well.
No. Well, I mean, Amazon owns Ring. Amazon owns Ring.
Yeah.
So this is all...
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, that's not great. That's not great.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was you haven't brought up the Elijah Schaffer crash out.
You know what? I followed it. I saw you posting about it last week, I think, on the Bathhouse. And I saw some of the stuff with Milo. Essentially what happens is like what he I mean, I've heard all the rumors about him. I've never met him, but I know people who have met him and said he was like definitely on coke when they met him.
Yeah, he bragged about it.
Yeah, they were like, he's fucking a cokehead, like big time. But what? So he was just like banging tons of right wing kind of chicks essentially, and then he divorced.
Well, he was also,
his wife, and he's gay.
Yeah, so he had Milo was doing a clearinghouse of all the right wing influencers, and Elijah happened to be first on his target, along with Nick Fuentes, who narrowly escaped after Jake Shields rescinded his exclamations about Nick being gay and him knowing it, and then he got a call and decided that he was cool with Nick again.
Okay.
And but Elijah.
So then did Jake basically say he was lying, or he's just like, I'm going to drop this? Because
he just didn't admit it anymore. He just said, oh, we're cool now.
Oh, okay. But he did say he goes, Nick's gay, and then he's like, he's not gay anymore.
Yeah, so Elijah Schaffer made this weird post on X talking about my family is gone, my wife and 2 kids are gone, pretending he had no idea where they were, and then posted this really weird, like what looked like a Shining.
Yeah, it was like a flooding hotel. It was like flooding, right?
It was
that
crazy.
real?
Yeah, that was real.
So he was like, it looks like he's in a hotel like ballroom, and there's a massive flood coming from like above, and so the carpets are like soaked.
I thought I was high when I was watching it. I was like, what the fuck am I seeing?
And so what did that end up being?
He was crashing out apparently on some kind of drugs, because at the end you can kind of hear him like talking like really oddly, and then Milo starts dropping these bombs about him. Basically, a bunch of the right wing are gay. They're meeting up for coke orgies. All these, like, there's a pregnant influencer recently that he was talking about was banging Elijah Schaffer. Elijah would travel with his own personal dildo or vibrator that he would pay prostitutes to go and peg him with.
Oh my God.
And then the whole time he's going and on about how much of a great Christian he is and this whole trad family thing.
What did he get fired from the Blaze
influencer
from?
thing.
He got fired from the Blaze, right?
For groping Sarah Gonzalez, and I think also doing some sexual harassment to Sydney Watson, who like they really hid that for quite a while. But like then the girl that he hired on, he cheated on his wife with, ended up like possibly getting an abortion. And then her husband, it comes out like everyone was sorry for him until they found out that the husband was banging this other influencer chick that was doing coke and shit. Like it's nuts.
I mean, it is crazy from this people to be like, yeah, right wing Christian to be up to this shit. But then I guess they just play the whole card where they're like, we're all sinners. This is why you need Jesus.
I don't think you're coming back from this one.
No, I didn't even know. What was Elijah even doing after he's just been like, what, a streamer?
Oh, so this is the thing too. So the whole reason I got into this was because both Elijah and Nick Fuentes were at J6. Elijah went into Nancy Pelosi's office and was sitting at her computer reading through her emails. Didn't get in any trouble. Nick Fuentes is literally on a 1-minute film telling people to go in to the Capitol building, to literally storm it. Then you've got people that were not even there getting raided by SWAT teams for literal tweets. I forgot the guy's name, but he was like a cop that was like actually like a drug investigator. And so, like, it's just proving that these people were, like, fed plants or something. And then also Elijah was currently in a legal battle with, what's the bulging eyes guy that doesn't do shit for us, the FBI guy, Cash App.
Oh, Cash Patel, yeah.
He's being sued. He's being sued.
Oh, yeah, over
for $5 million.
Mossad thing, right? For calling his girlfriend a Mossad agent?
For saying his obviously not Mossad country star girlfriend. That's definitely not a front for his strange, very straight, not homosexual relationship with the guy that he was staying with as a billionaire funder. So it's a lot of shit.
Sounds like you're getting sued soon. Oh, Cash Patel doesn't watch
I don't
the show.
have anything in my name. So.
Smart. I guess they'll just come after me. Interesting. All right. Well, yeah, that one video of because with the flooding hotel, I was just like, where is this? That's all I was like, where are you right now?
He went through like $3 million of like this one company. So like he got all these deals. He was working with Gavin McInnes and some other donators, and then he built some insane studio. Hired this chick, banged her up until she was like getting married to this guy that turned out to be a piece of shit too, and went through. Oh yeah, and he lost his car.
Yeah, I saw that. He's like someone
happened,
stole my BMW, and he's like, and then I found it,
and he had a gun in it. And I think what happened was his wife was someone working with his wife went and took the car and made it disappear, or the cops were trying to help make it safe because he was supposedly he was pretty abusive. He listened to the phone calls. And so it disappears for a month with his gun in it. And then the day that his wife and kids disappear, he's in Virginia celebrating he found his car, and then also posting about how, oh, my wife and kids are gone and I've made a police report. So like that guy was fucking unhinged.
Yeah.
He was they probably did that to like put her into a safe place.
Crazy. All right. Well, that's an interesting development. All right, thanks, Dylan. Dylan, everybody. Go check out his YouTube channel, Dylan Farnham 1488, I believe. I'm not sure what the significance of those numbers are. All right, let's go to Eli again. We'll try him again, although he wasn't able to unmute himself last time. So imagine he won't be able to unmute himself again. So we'll go to Spencer, and then we'll go to Wild Bill. Spencer, are you there?
What's up, Danny?
Yo.
Hey, what's up, man?
How's it going?
So I can't remember the name of who you were talking to, or what it might have been Dylan. I don't know. I was kind of driving around.
Last
first
caller
when I called in
was Dylan. I think Rick was the previous.
Okay. Yeah, whoever you're talking about FedEx with, it reminded me of some wild stories. So I've shared a little bit here and there. You know, the way I make my living is selling firearms, shipping them all over the country.
You're the machine gun guy?
Yeah, that's me.
Right.
But I mean, the stuff we sell all over isn't quite as fun. Still cool, but machine guns, we don't deal those commercially. That's only law enforcement, that kind of thing.
Right.
So with FedEx, I have a really fun story. This was probably a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. I started to notice that when I shipped guns into Georgia and they entered the Atlanta FedEx hub, it was literally like a coin flip that a gun would go missing. Because anytime a gun goes missing, right, I have to fill out a report. Like I have to tell the feds, you know, I shipped the gun here. We lost tracking here, and then they have to take it from there.
Right.
And this started happening just like all the time until finally, the straw that broke the camel's back is I shipped a box with, I think I have 4 AR-15s in it, and it went missing. All right. And then over the period of like, and that's what made me make the call. Like, okay, we're not shipping FedEx through Georgia anymore, because I don't know what the fuck is going on in the Atlanta hub. And I called our local, they're called industry investigators, or ATF, or ATF rep, essentially, like who I have to deal with locally. And basically what she couldn't tell me a whole lot, but basically what she said was that the Atlanta FedEx hub, like they have been watching them, probably still, I don't know if they've done anything, but they believe that there are big gang members that are in upper management in the Atlanta FedEx hub that are basically pulling firearms like off the line and stealing them and helping traffic them all over the place. Because they did actually end up recovering 3 of the 4 rifles that went missing, but they came back one at a time over a span of like 6 months. Like I got one back from Utah, one back from like Maine, and one back from like New Mexico, and the other one I've never gotten back.
And are they used when you get them back? Or are they still like brand new in the package?
It depends on whether they were actually, stolen and like made it to the street and then recovered, or whether they went to another hub and they weren't able to finalize trafficking out of the FedEx facility. They're trying to, so what happens is, not all businesses do this, but like when we ship firearms, like the labels don't say anything about the fact that there's a gun in there, right? Like the company name on the label does not line up with, like, it's basically a shell company just for shipping, right? So that, fucking Joe Blow driver can't look at it and be like, oh, I know that's a rifle, I can steal it, right? But if you have back-end access as a manager, you can see like accounts, and you can see that, like, because anything we ship out goes under a specific, basically a firearms account, right? The FedEx can see that it's regulated. So people in upper management could see, oh, there's a shipment of fucking 300 guns coming in here. Let's make 5 of them disappear, right? And that happens all the time. And like the feds basically like are almost like, I mean, it's like drugs, man. Like they can't really stop it. Like they they take the reports after the fact, and if it turns up, they'll bring them back. But
are they gonna launch an investigation if this is a routine thing that's happening? Like they probably just don't have the manpower to do that.
No, they don't. And it's like, because it's only reported after the fact, it's like, you know, by the time they get the report, it's like it could literally be anywhere. And so basically I made the decision after that last one where I was like, we're just not fucking sending FedEx to Georgia, period. And it fixed the problem entirely. Like I haven't had like anything go missing down there. Like it is literally, there is something going on in the Georgia Atlanta FedEx hub.
Huh. Crazy.
And I've never heard anything about it being resolved.
Do you insure these packages? Like how does it work? Do they just end up cutting you a check or?
Yeah. If it's in their custody, like the packages do get like they pay out the claim, but like the bigger problem is not, you know, at the end of the day, we don't want people that are going to misuse weapons getting them, you know, believe it or not, gun dealers don't actually want to have guns end up to where people are just going to kill random people with them.
Sure. Yeah. That seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I know. Right.
That's great. And so, but like FedEx is just like, there's nothing. I mean, I know they're a massive company. Like they're probably like, where to even start with this?
Yeah. FedEx is basic because like FedEx was no help at all. I mean, I don't know the names of anyone that worked down there because it's like all I would see, like I have like this fucking cabinet of like, I don't even know, probably at least a dozen guns that the last thing the tracking says is it entered the Atlanta hub and it just disappears. Like it gets scanned in and then there's no updates and we never get it back, or maybe we get it back like a couple of years later, like it turns up somewhere.
Okay, this is going to be really stupid question. So if this is really stupid, I apologize in advance. Is there some way that you could hide an air tag somewhere in a gun? Like in our AR-15?
So, yeah. So some guys do that. Like if they're shipping a like extremely expensive, like, you know, 5-figure plus gun, you know, they will do that. Like you could hide it in a number of places. Like some butt stocks open up for cleaning kits and stuff. There's places inside the receiver that you could stick one if you really wanted to and keep it somewhat hidden. But like when you're just shipping out like relatively cheap commercial guns or receivers,
you don't want to.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
like it doesn't. Expensive to do that.
Yeah, it'd be like $25 a pop. I would do that more out of like curiosity, I guess. What do you care? But it would be one of those things where, you know, you could probably go buy a bunch of old air tags for like, you could probably get them for $10.
It would be an interesting experiment. And we had another case. This was again FedEx. This was a little while longer ago, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where a driver. So this was a little bit more sophisticated, and these guys actually ended up getting arrested, and we got a bunch of our shit back at one time. There was a driver that realized that, like, he basically figured out that what we were shipping was firearms and that he had our stuff on his route. So he coordinated with some guy. This was in Michigan, I want to say. And they had like this industrial, this abandoned warehouse that they would, like, he was pretty retarded. Like he would go in the fucking FedEx truck to this warehouse and like drop off a bunch of stolen firearms that he pulls off the back of his truck. And he did that with like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 of ours. Like there's just this town in Michigan where we kept getting like, okay, go out for delivery, and then it would never get to the gun store it was supposed to go to. And then like a few months after the last time it happened, we got just like a bunch of shit back, and the FBI was like, yeah, these guys, like they were stealing them, but they hadn't really like figured out a way to sell the stolen firearms.
So they were just like the stockpiling them.
The FBI kicked in the door of this warehouse, and like all the guns that they had stolen were there. And, you know, it was ours. And then like a few other, distributors stuff was in there. But yeah, that stuff happens all the time along the supply chain.
I mean, you hear about that with all sorts of other stuff. So I imagine they're just stealing anything that's high value that they can kind of figure out. That's wild though. All right, I gotta let you go. Thanks, man. Spencer, everybody. Okay, let's take another call. Let's go to what? Actually, I'm gonna read some super chats because I missed some. Let's see. Rachel PB says Britney Spears is a clone. I believe that. Rubestar says, "Can you read this?" Yes, Rubestar, I can read that. Rachel PB says no. Rubestar cannot read this. Aggressive Yeti says, "Hey Danny, since all dogs go to heaven, are you considering a cat for your next pet?" I like cats, not a cat guy. Not a cat guy, but I like a cat. My neighbor has a cat, this big, fat, fluffy white cat, and she leaves her door open on our floor, and to let the cat just run around the floor. I don't know if that's fine or not. I don't mind. Maybe some people would not like that. But sometimes the cat will be outside of my door, and it's big and fat, and it's white and it's fluffy, and I like it, but I don't want a cat. Dylan says, "Sorry, I missed this. Ask the caller if he tweeted about this. I saw it." Sorry, I missed that. Sorry. But if he's listening, I don't know how the two of you could connect with one another to confirm that or not. I don't know. Let's go to Wild Bill. Billy from Philly.
Daniel, son, what's shaking, brother?
How you doing, man? I'm good.
Hey, I heard you talking about the gypsies earlier, and my Uncle John, he was Russian Orthodox, and he would tell me when they're Romanian, right? The gypsies.
Yeah, the Roma. I think the Roma or the Romani people is the correct way to refer to them. Gypsy is a slur.
Yeah. Well,
apparently.
So is spoon, but whatever. But
I've never heard that.
But well, it's a combo. Okay. Like spooking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
sure.
Anyway, he would tell me when they would have funerals, they would like block off the street, and it'd be like carnivals going down the street. They'd have. You ever see those black dudes dancing around with the bodies, like in Africa?
Yeah.
Funky music.
Yeah.
He said it was similar, something like that, where it was all real festive, and people would dress up in like Mardi Gras type stuff. He explained it as.
Interesting. Yeah, I know I don't know if if the Irish travelers are the same as gypsies. I guess they're Irish and not Roma, but they're like a similar culture thing where they're all scammers, basically. I don't know if this is not to take this back to hockey, but like 2 years ago, there was this thing where Paul Bizinet, Biz Nasty from Barstool Sports from the Spit and Chicklets podcast, he was at like a bar in Scottsdale, and a bunch of these Irish travelers like beat the shit out of him because they were giving some waitress a hard time. And he was like, he tried to intervene because they were like being very like aggressive with his waitress, like these 5 guys. And they basically followed him out in the parking lot and kind of like beat the shit out of him. But this guy was like in the NHL, so like he held his own. And then it turned out these dudes were like running these scams like all over the United States, and they travel from just place to place running these like paving scams where they literally like will come up to your front door, say like we'll pave your driveway for, like $1,500 or whatever it costs. Do like a really shitty job, take the money and just disappear. And they do these scams like for several months out of the year where they travel all around the United States doing these paving scams. And then they basically make enough money to just like ball out for the rest of the year, spend all their money, and then just like rinse and repeat every year, just these paving scams.
Back maybe 30 years ago when I was a teenager in Wildwood, they were all Romanians down there, and then it switched. Now maybe 10 years ago, it was like all Albanians came and moved in, and they were running all the T-shirts and all the crap down there. Yeah, the shooting games and everything.
Yeah. These aren't so much carnies. I mean, if you go to Italy, like the actual like gypsy Romas, they're everywhere, and they all run scams. They're all the pickpockets there. And they do the stuff where they'll like throw a baby at you to distract you. Like they'll literally just toss a baby at you And then like a tourist just like catches the baby because they're like, it's a fucking baby that just got thrown at me. And then they like rob you. And they're always like, you see them, they're like, you know, you see them in New York, actually. I do see some gypsies in New York. I know I'm not supposed to say gypsy, apparently. I don't give a shit. But you do see them in New York. They always have babies. They always like, and they're always like panhandling and stuff or begging or whatever in like the subways. And they always have like one or two like very young infants. I don't know if they're theirs or if they're someone in the communities and they're just renting it out so they can go. Because, you know, you obviously get more money if you're begging if you have a fucking newborn baby. But they always have babies.
Man, they throw a baby at me, I'd spike that thing like a football.
I think you would, but if you're just like kind of walking, you know, you got your like camera around your neck and you're walking around the Colosseum in Rome and just like a baby flies at you, I think like a biological natural instinct is you catch the baby.
I get my Roman shield and defend myself.
Like I think you would just fucking bat that shit down, but I think you would catch it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you something. This has been on my mind.
Yeah.
In the Jewish religion, when you die, what happens to you? Where do you go anywhere, or what's the deal?
That's a good question.
What do you believe happens?
I think so. From what I understand, that there's no hell. I'm like the worst guy to ask about this, by the way. But Joe the lawyer is better to ask about this. I know so little. I should know more. I don't. I think there's just like some kind of heaven, but it's not like, I don't know if it's exactly heaven. Like we definitely like growing up as a Jew, there's not like a thing where they're like, oh, if you're good, you go to heaven. And if you're bad, you go to hell. There's not really that talk of like, there's definitely like an afterlife. I don't know if it's framed specifically as heaven. There's no like purgatory or anything. And then from what I believe, I don't have any strong beliefs on this. I would guess based off of like maybe a lot of, you know, things I've read and certain things, I would guess there is something, but I'm fairly agnostic in that I just whatever will be, and I'm not going to waste my time thinking about, you know, I live my life like, you know, as like I try not to be a piece of shit and I try to be a good person and all that stuff. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. It really comes down to, I don't know. And I think anybody who says they know is full of shit.
Yeah. Okay. You know, so you're there.
Yeah, like if someone's like, I know for certain what's happened, whether it's, you know, you just go dark like a fucking computer shutting down, or if there's some fantastical afterlife. I mean, I definitely believe in a soul. They're definitely like, if you've ever seen something that's alive and then seen it dead, whether that's like a person or a human, there definitely seems like a soul is a thing, like a somewhat tangible thing, it seems like. And then the question is like, well, then what happens to that? So I guess that's where I go with that. But in terms of what happens, I don't fucking know. No clue.
Well, if all dogs go to heaven, where do all Jews go?
Probably also to heaven, I hope. But then if all Jews are in heaven, is it really heaven for everybody?
No, that's what I'm saying. They want to kill Jesus and, you know, come on now.
I mean, some people say Hitler's in heaven. Wouldn't that be funny if Hitler's in heaven and then Jews go to the same heaven? That would be awkward.
Awkward. Boy, it's awful awkward up in heaven here.
Sure. I don't know. I think there's some things that are just not meant to be known until you arrive at it, you know?
All right. Well, I'll be looking for you.
What do you think? You think there's a heaven for sure? Just heaven and a hell?
Now, the hell thing, I've been listening to this guy, God Rules, and there's like a lot of ancient, like Greek philosophy where they had these doctrines, or like they would all come together, like the Nicene Creed. Like the churches came together, and they were saying originally it wasn't like a hell. They were telling you hell, so you would, you know, obey the priest and not have sex. It was like a mind control type thing,
which seems pretty logical. Be good, and here's this great thing waiting for you. Be a piece of shit while we all have to, like, you know, live here, and, you know, eternal damnation.
So I look at it more of like a prolonged purgatory where if you're like an asshole, you go spend, if our life here is say 75 years, you might spend 1,000 years in this purgatory just doing nothing. Almost like the river,
You're just like in a waiting room at the DMV basically or something. You're just like waiting for an appointment. And time is the same. That's another thing. Is like, would time after you die, like, is time fixed in the same manner? There's still 365 days in a year and 24 hours in a day, and it feels the same. I don't know.
See, when I picture heaven, I look at it like I'm in a big, like a forest, like with mountains in the background, perfect 70 degrees, beautiful sunny day, and I can go visit like my dad or Nikola Tesla, and I can go see these people, and I'm walking around like in the woods. To me, that's what like my heaven is.
That like sucks for Nikola Tesla, where he's just like I always laugh about that, where people are like, yeah, Jimi Hendrix is playing guitar, and you're like, yeah, so Jimi Hendrix gets no peace in heaven because everybody's like, yo, you play me a song. I want to hear Voodoo Child. He's like, I don't want to play right now. You go, well, this is heaven for me, so sorry, Jimmy. You know what I mean? Like, like Nikola Tesla just has to get bothered by every guy who's like a fanboy of his. Seems like hell for him.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Me, my old man doesn't want to see me. He's like, I saw you for
well, I'm sure your family might want to see you, but just like some famous guy is like, yo, leave me the fuck alone. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
True. It'd be like a university then. You'd have college classes and crap. You'd billions of people up there.
Maybe. Oh, there'd be. I think there would. They're saying there's been 100 billion people ever. It'd be fucking packed up there.
Do you believe in evolution?
To a degree, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Do you think we came from monkeys, like that kind of shit?
I mean, not to get racist on here right now, but you definitely see some things in nature where you look at them with your eyes and you go, I can see how these two things might be linked in some way without getting, too spicy.
Yeah. It's kind of a long.
Like, were we fish? Shit, so. I don't know. Like, did we come from fish? That does seem like a stretch that I'm like, we were fish, but I could see how we were all primates. There is a resemblance there.
See, I think they tell you that so you never think you're anybody better than a monkey.
I'm way better than a monkey. I am so much better than a monkey. Who doesn't think they're better than a monkey?
You're the same. In what I believe, we came from God's image. God created us in His image. There's no evolution. He made us. He made monkeys, just like He made a giraffe and a horse. Even though they're similar, they're completely different animals with different everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
See, the God's image thing, I'm like, because I've seen some of these. Have you seen some of these new like robots that they're making? Like some of these Boston Dynamic robots, and they have like interesting, like like your shoulder, for example. Like their arms work the same as our arms, but they have like I don't know how to explain it, but like the socket, like it's like a 360-degree socket essentially, and you go, like that seems. Like if there's a God, you're like, we're still have all these limitations where, engineers are like, yeah, this makes more sense if you were trying to optimize a robot. You give it these, like the way like some of their joints, just, you know what I mean? And so.
Yeah. You can articulate all the way around. And
yeah. And you're like, why don't we have that? You're trying to tell me like God fucking is like, just like, his rotator cuff makes him stop moving his arm a certain way. I don't know. I didn't expect to get all deep and philosophical, but I guess this is where we are. All right, I gotta let you go though. I got a bunch of other callers, but great talking to you.
All right, homeboy.
Pleasure.
Love
as
you.
always.
Later,
man. Man, we're getting into the weeds here. All right, let's take some more calls. I'm gonna close the phone lines because we have a lot of calls. The phone lines are now closed. Don't call in. You had your chance. You blew it.
Oh, hey, David.
Hello. Hey, what's up, man?
This is Cole from Peoria.
Cole from Peoria. What's up, man?
Dude, there's so much here. Dealer's choice. What do you want to talk about?
Whatever you want to talk about. It's open lines.
I'll do some general updates here.
Yeah, you're a pretty smart guy, so I think you probably know a lot about a lot of stuff.
I lied to you, Danny. I'm full of shit. Turns out we did not fuck over the Chinese. We did not fuck over the Chinese with Argentina. The $20 billion bailout did not fuck over the Chinese.
Okay.
Sorry.
Explain that. Give me a little backstory for people who don't remember. I barely remember. So
here's the Economist update, and I want you to rant. So preach. Argentina enforces a subsidy of $5 per pound of beef for the sustenance of the populace, but exports 90% to China, which sells it at $17 to $19 a pound.
And
we're not fucking over the Chinese. We're playing ball. I'm sorry, Danny.
Right. That's what isn't that what I said originally? That it was because
you said that.
Yeah, because it was basically, so it was because everybody was like, why are we bailing out Argentina? And you're like, well, just, there might be something in it for the United States. And turns out there probably is.
No. So that Argentina can sell China some beef, and the beef and China can go, I don't know.
Elsewhere.
Call out to some people who are feeling fucked up right now. And maybe Danny can speak to this too. I was taught to be an economist, and I've seen a lot of weird medical shit.
Yeah.
If you're seeing a lot of this online snuff right now and it's bothering you, it should. It should fuck with you.
Uh-huh.
It is the dismal science, right? We're seeing stuff that's messes even with us because we're taught how to deal with it.
You know what I'm like? I don't know if you're a big AI guy at all, but I
have to test AI, and I called to talk about you because I heard what you said about AI, but go on.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody's following this Clawdbot thing. What's going on with this Clawdbot?
Yeah, I heard about it. They use Claude to design a total compiler for the GNU library.
Yeah, well, so there, and not only Claude, but there's this thing called OpenClaw, which basically you can have your own personal AI agent, and I've been fucking with it for a week, and I haven't made any progress. Well, I've made some progress with it. The day it came out, or 2 days later, I installed it on a VPS. It couldn't do shit. I was basically the main thing is that you get this it's a wrapper for AI. You load it on a machine, not your main computer, because it can do some fucked up stuff to your computer. And then you can basically, because most AIs is you open it, you talk to it, you ask it a question, you close it, and that's it, right? It's running 24/7, and then you can contact it via a messaging app like Telegram or WhatsApp, and you can have it just work for you 24/7 doing stuff. So the first iteration, I have it running on this VPS. I'm set a reminder for me for 5 minutes from now. It's I can't do that. I'm okay, this thing sucks. The hype is totally overblown. Then they push out an update. I had this old MacBook Pro, is 12 years old, sitting in a closet. I load a new operating system on it. I set it up again with this new update, which was 3 days later. I was set a reminder for you. Sets a reminder for me. I'm okay, here's something. I'm it can, and it starts doing stuff. I give it access to my Google Calendar and my Google Drive, my Gmail and stuff. And it starts kind of being able to do some stuff. I'm make me put this in my calendar. Put stuff in the calendar. I'm oh, this is kind of cool. Then I ask it to do a couple things, go on the internet. It does them. Then it just totally bricks itself. It's just and then I'm hey, where's my to-do list? I'm I don't have a to-do list. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. So I'm okay. But I think it was because I was using this old computer. But anyways, yesterday I started using Claude, Anthropic's Claude. I got the Pro account. And it has a thing called Cowork, because I have 1 million files on my computer, all this content and stuff. And the bane of every comedian's existence right now is just posting content. It's tedious. It's you have to remember what have I posted? What have I not posted? It's a nightmare. You go to open Claude.
And you probably got layers and layers of mind maps too, right?
I have so much shit. I'm like, I can't keep track of it. It's honestly like it
Exactly.
holds so much bandwidth in my head that I should be using for artistic endeavors, like creating things. But I'm like, I have this all this stuff I have to like manage essentially. So I go into Claude and it's $20 a month, but it's limited in how much you can use. But I go into Claude, I link it to my computer, and I go start organizing all my files on my desktop. It designs me this insane like content library, like distribution thing. It's honestly, I could barely sleep last night after fucking around with this thing for like 4 hours. I was like, this is insane.
Well,
like unreal.
I mean, here's the deal, Danny. You're not retarded. The thing is, I work with teams of people that try to get these things into a state where they behave and can like start using tools and do basic things.
Yeah.
The error you're talking about was like, I couldn't get the chrono driver to go. And you're like, oh, you couldn't get, like the Y2K bug to like solve
Essentially,
itself?
yeah, it was
And
the cron jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
anyways,
everything, the problem is everybody's becoming a fucking developer because you're like, I have to figure out what the freaking Conan or C dependency libraries are. So
I've never used terminal in my life.
Machine in a virtual machine.
The last week, I've
insane.
literally had a terminal window open on my laptop like all day, and I'm just like, I'm going into this stuff, and it goes, put this into terminal, and then I'm like, okay, and then it's like, put this into terminal. It gives me an error. I take the error, I put it
AI
back.
is really good. AI is really good also as a reference for commands and as well as a vibe coding thing. So like this thing has helped me develop my own like
this
code
shit is
suite in Jupyter. It's great.
Incredible.
It's so dope, Danny.
It is incredible. Like I know this is all, honestly like people are like, oh yeah, AI is like it's great. Like the Claude co-work thing, and you know, I've like ChatGPT is like probably one of the worst ones at this point. Like honestly, the way I rank it. But I ordered last night. I was like, this is so. It's like almost basic.
It's very child. Well, it's oriented towards children.
And yeah, and
really
Claude is
family,
like. Claude is like
Apple, it's the Apple option.
Yeah,
right?
but it like Claude has like a personality. It like swears and stuff. Like it's
Claude is corporate, dude. Claude is definitely corporate. They put it in banking and they put it in freaking
but like it swears
government code structures.
It literally will be like, oh shit,
because government workers swear.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, fuck this. Like,
but anyways, I got so much.
How many bankers do you know that don't swear?
Yeah, that's true. But I was getting like, I legitimately was getting this like AI FOMO last night, where I was like, I need to get one of these OpenClaw assistant setup. So then I went and I like ordered a new fucking Mac Mini because everybody's like, you have to have a Mac Mini. But and I was like trying to just do it on a VPS or on my old laptop.
You had banker FOMO.
I was legitimately like, I had insane like fear of missing out because I'm like, I can see that this is going to be something crazy. And
it is amazing. Basically the thing that makes Claude amazing is it can reference multiple. They basically created a bunch of closed data structures and they say, we don't let any of the internet noise in. Because like Grok, for instance, is kind of retarded because it knows a lot about like what's happening on Twitter.
Yeah.
But it talks the way the most popular person on Twitter would talk.
Right.
Which is retarded.
Uh-huh.
So Claude is really like the most pissed off like investment banker you can imagine, looking at all of your like closed like casket like data stores and going, why didn't you murder that guy?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, settle down, Claude. Like it's a different animal. Like you just like
it's
I don't know
like the
I don't know
stuff
what's
it does.
Prioritized in this thing's head, but
like I literally was like,
do you know what happened with the Anthropic? Like, do you know about their investment structure with respect to FTX?
Yeah, FTX had a massive.
They had a 8 to 10% buy-in, and then when they found out that like they were totally like whatever, they just sold them off like at premium, and then just kept going. It was crazy.
No,
Anthropic is insane. They're a juggernaut, and Alphabet, and everybody is backing them. It's nuts.
Like I use Gemini too, and Gemini has some cool features. Like Gemini can access YouTube, for example. So like I can literally
Gemini is very because
it's owned by
problem is
Google.
every one of these AIs is subject to their own search algorithm. So like Copilot's retarded because it uses Bing, and Gemini's kind of retarded because it uses Google search.
Right.
But it'll find the most popular thing or the most like the thing it's paid to advertise to you. But the problem, you're like, this is why you see like Ryan losing his shit.
Dude, Claude is...
They literally bought him like...
Yeah,
Claude is different.
Blew my mind. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I was using it last night. And the only reason I stopped using it was because, like, unlike, most of these other ones, it's not unlimited. Even on the paid one, they go like, yeah, you have so many tokens. And then once you run out, you have basically like a 5-hour cool-off period where you can't use it at all anymore. And you have a weekly limit as well. Like yesterday, I was like, should I get the paid one? Now I'm like, I think I got to sign up for the $100 a month one because this thing is fucking nuts.
Yeah, I think you could find a lot of use for it because that's the thing with these AIs is they're all really domain specific, and I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, it's just the actual like integration into my computer where I'm like, go find all my videos, like all that stuff it did last night in 4 hours would have taken me a week, like a week. No, sorry. It wouldn't have taken me a week.
You would have had to use AIs, dude. You would have had to use AIs to even help you figure it out.
It wouldn't have taken me a week because I would not have been able to figure out that like content distribution thing that it just designed for me in 3 minutes. Like I would have never even been able to figure that out. I would have had to, like 3 years ago, I had to go on.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I would have never been able to figure that. Zero chance. Like it's all these terminal entries and stuff and like hooking up to like my Telegram and all, like never. It's building me these crazy spreadsheets. It's insane. Like yeah, it's crazy. And again, it's like, just imagine what it's going to be like in 6 months.
Well, I mean, it eventually reaches like, there's always the economic problem where like you keep adding shovels to a problem and the hole keeps getting bigger. And then you're like, well, just keep adding shovels. And you're like, it will, I think it's already reached that point, but
it could. Well, so for one thing, cause I'm like, I asked it, can you edit videos for me? And it's like, not really. I can like trim videos. I can do stuff, but I'm like, but you're going to be able to edit my videos for me in, I don't know, 6 months, maybe a year. Like I'll just be able to upload a video, like a full episode of this show and it'll cut me all the clips, which is like, all right, you just saved me 6 hours. And schedule them all to post and like everything. I'm like 10 hours. You just saved me in 30 seconds.
That's what's amazing is all the people who are excited about AI are just like, this thing saves me so much time. And everybody else is like, this is cutting me out. And you're like,
yeah,
that's
the thing. And me, I'm like,
for me, weird.
The thing is,
it's like people are like, I hate guns because I keep getting shot. And you're like, well, I'm really good at shooting. So.
The thing is, the life of a comedian has changed so drastically in like 10 years. Like there never used to be any sort of administration work whatsoever. Like you were just like, you made comedy and that was it. And now like,
women got involved and now everything has a ribbon. Everything has a ribbon, Danny.
Yeah, but now it's like there's so much just admin. Like I just have so many fucking little tasks I constantly have to do, like because I'm essentially like closer to a small business than just like a comedian now. But like there's so much bullshit I have to do, which like every comedian fucking hates. The amount of old comedians I talk to who are just like, I used to be really famous and sold lots of tickets, and now I don't because I don't want to opt into having to do this stuff because it's like a lot of work, which I understand because they overlapped in 2 different periods. But like those people, like this could save them if they figure it out.
Oh yeah, I mean you're like this is a crazy, like if my mom spent half the time budgeting her checkbook. But I guess let's talk about something more salacious.
Sure.
I'll kick off with gypsies.
Yeah.
I hate gypsies, Danny. I went to Egypt. I went to Europe, and my mom warned me. She's like, "These gypsies will cut the clothes right off you, boy." Yep. She's like, "They'll take razors."
Yeah, I know.
She's like, "They'll
cut your pockets. They'll cut your wallet right out of your fucking pocket.
They'll do it." That never happened to me. But the thing is, while I was there, like I was just there for a high school trip. And at the time, the Vatican and the rest of like Europe basically condoned a mass removal of gypsies from like everywhere. And they like because people were like, I don't want to go to the friggin', I think the World Cup or something at the time. They're like, I don't want to go to the World Cup and have there be gypsies there.
Yeah.
And so
and they're stateless, right? They have
they
have no passports. Like there's no country that
right.
will
So they
recognize them.
literally, I think they just mailed most of them to Turkey. They're like, yeah, you all go to Constantinople because fuck the Orthodox.
I guess.
And so like Europe was just playing this. No, they were like doing this like power play, and you're like, okay. So they ship all these gypsies off to the Orthodox. They're not happy.
No.
You get a bunch of people who are like literal like white trash. You know, like what do you do with that? Like you just sit there and go, okay, like this will suck for everybody here.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, when I like the problem is like in America, when I talk about gypsies, it's like this is not an American problem.
I see
Like,
them
like,
in New York City though. They are here. I don't know how the fuck they got here because they don't have passports, but they're here. They're unmistakable that they're gypsies.
So again, yes, but this is the thing. So when somebody corrected me about this, I was literally like playing D&D, Danny. So this guy corrects me. He's like, actually, the correct term is Romanian. And I'm like sitting there going, we're playing a game about a bunch of people who were kidnapped by these people, and we're getting our fortunes read by these people around a crystal ball while they all drink and like play the accordion and shit. I'm like, what part of cultural sensitivity do you really?
Like, yeah, I mean, they're famously like
I was an asshole for saying gypsy.
Right.
Fuck you. Like,
I mean,
it was so stupid.
Have you ever
like,
seen
these people.
The Sweet and Lowdown with Sean Penn?
No.
It's a Woody Allen movie. It's with Sean Penn. It was basically in the movie. It's from like the 90s, I want to say. And in the movie, Sean Penn is like the second greatest gypsy jazz guitarist in the world next to Django Reinhardt. And it's all kind of about like Django Reinhardt and the fact that like he's just like so much better than him. It's a really good movie. But like you learn the gypsies, basically like famously Django Reinhardt like didn't know how to sign his own name because they're like they take pride in their illiteracy. Like they take pride in like the fact that they are like very much like outcasts. They are like illiterate, but they still get by. Like they still manage like with all these.
Well, you have to acknowledge my status in this hierarchy. Essentially, it's like remnant of Native American like protoism.
And a lot of them are like in Italy and stuff. Like a lot of them are like big like drug traffickers and stuff, and they're very much like, yeah, we don't know how to sign our own names, but like we got money. And they manage,
like,
and
you don't know how to deal with that.
And yeah, you know exactly. And they don't want to be part of the system. They literally want to just like kind of exploit, just like make some money, whether it's like pickpocketing or whatever the fuck, and then they just like go do their thing.
Let's see. My
okay. One more thing, just because one more thing, just because I got a
paving scams. But a shout out to Connor. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right.
Paving scams.
Paving scam.
Somebody. What is a paving scam?
Did you get scammed with a paving scam?
So I can tell you about Irish contractors in Middle America if you want.
Sure. These are the travelers. Similar to the gypsies.
So here's the deal. Well, no, it's everybody sucks in the Midwest because we're all Irish, right? We're all German Irish people trying to like scam each other.
Yeah.
So you do have like you have like basically these tossels of like low grade housing built into the southern part of the Midwest, and then people will migrate north using their trailer vans, and then try to like migrate through cities so that they can do contract work or like fix houses and shit. So I had a situation with my property where I was trying to get some work done on a septic aeration system because we were outside of the township. So a lot of these Irish communities try to like hassle the local township and say like, we're a different community.
Okay. Yeah.
And, and we're not going to we're not going to pay taxes to you essentially. But then they realize they have to like manage their own septic and everything. So then you have this like set of like people on the outside who were all septic waste management whatevers. so I was in the unfortunate position of being the president of the Condo Owners Association, and I had a guy above me who owned a trucking company, and he owned the apartment, but he would let anybody stay in it who was one of his drivers.
Okay.
So I start smelling like cat piss, like when I'm being forced to work from home by the government. So somebody's like got a shake and bake in the unit. And then I'm sitting there trying to manage the septic aeration. The whole pipe that's shared between my unit and this guy's basically disintegrates because of some kind of interaction with chemicals. Who knows?
Something.
And this is how Illinois deals with things. So all of this flows down and into the septic aeration pit, which is just, a bunch of air pumps that with sequenced degradation of material, which again, you get to find out that people even in their 50s still flush condoms. And you're just awesome.
Not a mistake I make anymore.
It's something stupid. And then even my current wife, it's she didn't understand you couldn't flush flushable wipes. And I was like, yeah, don't trust YouTube, babe.
Well, they're called flushable wipes. That's an honest mistake.
I know. No, these people literally lie to you.
Yeah.
And they don't punish them.
I know. They're called flushable wipes. You're not supposed to put Q-tips in your ears. We're getting scammed left and right.
Whatever. So all of this shit happens, and I call the cops, and I'm like, hey, my cesspit is dead because of some kind of chemical interaction. I'm calling you and there's all these smells going on, all this crap. What are you going to do about it? And the guy says, have you considered moving?
Oh my God.
So you're like, what'd you say to me? So I call, at this point I call the Tazewell County, whatever. And I'm like, hey, do you understand how to test for meth? Eventually what I realize is there's all these, the problem is it's there's so many chemicals in meth. There's no way to prove it was meth.
Right.
It could be just any toilet bowl concoction. So end of the story is 6 months later, I get a call, after recording things with the local sheriff's office, calling out my neighbors, being a total cock about all this shit, having to replace the pipes, having to sludge out this thing repeatedly, getting no response from the Illinois state, nothing. You end up just being oh, I'm surrounded by criminals.
Mm. So what did you do? You move?
Yeah.
Really? You just fucking pack your shit up?
Yeah.
God damn.
No, I mean you fix all the problems, but you're just eventually I move, the other guy moves, and you find out that there's this clause in Illinois property contract that says, oh, if meth was ever involved, the property can't be sold.
Oh.
So the cops literally won't even follow through. But the end of the story is 6 months later, I get a call from some dude who's yeah, I took a 2-week course on methamphetamines, and I don't see a problem with anything. We talked to the guy, so this is 4 to 5 months after I'd even called to complain about this. And afterwards I had notified the guy and said all this crap. The state officer says, yeah, I took a 2-week course on methamphetamine production. We talked to the fellow, we explored the property, and we didn't discover a methamphetamine lab. And I was like, right. He's my issue is that I think that he has a maid coming in every week. And then also, some of his truckers seem to be running shake and bakes from the unit. That was my issue. And they're like, well, that's not a lab. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock.
You're like, okay, is this where we're debating here? Is whether it's a lab or not?
Right. And then you call the lawyer at the end of a month later after that, and they give you this slow jerk, and you're just like, okay, I guess I am moving.
Yeah. That sucks.
But no, you're that's New York, right?
Yeah.
It's just this slow fucking burn.
Yeah.
Fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, I hate this place.
Good luck with it.
All right, thanks, buddy. Cole from Peoria, everybody. All right, let's take some more calls. I got another super chat from Dylan. Says, ex-wife did her anthro thesis on gyps. Was wild. Hello, Isaiah.
Howdy.
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Doing good. You?
Very well. What's up?
You want to riff?
Whatever you want.
I got me there with the either the surveillance or the theology.
Let's talk about the surveillance.
So, how much you know about Palantir?
Palantir? I know a little bit about it.
Yeah. I know a little bit. I forget shit too all the time because I smoke a ton of weed. But so, like, roughly, it seems like it's like Peter Thiel. It's like all the little tech guys like Peter Thiel and
all
Palmer
the
Luckey and,
PayPal. No, I don't think Palmer Luckey's involved. Palmer Luckey's Anduril.
I think no, I'll explain. I'm getting them mixed up, but I think the sort of like the overarching play from that crew is essentially something like get JD Vance in, and then you have through JD Vance and through Palantir, because Palantir is like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like essentially turning all the mass surveillance data they have on all the U.S. citizens just to be usable.
I mean, it's basically from what I understand with Palantir, it's just a database company where like every department in the United States has their own like separate database essentially. And what they do is they link them all and they make them all searchable. So you can just, because, that's a pretty hard thing to do. And so you can essentially just like a single interface and you can just search everything. That's at least my understanding of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you say that too, and it's like when you connect all those departments, one of those departments is the NSA, who monitors like all the communications in the United States. So
yeah, for sure.
Like you have this huge quantity of information that they want to make usable, much more usable than it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I saw a thing. Sorry to cut you off, but I saw a thing with one of the protesters in Minneapolis. And I don't know if this was specifically related to Palantir, but this is like a similar thing where essentially she was protesting in Minneapolis and they got like an image of her face at the protest. I was reading this, I think today. They got an image of her face. They uploaded it. And then she's like, 3 days later, I got an email saying that I was kicked off of TSA PreCheck and Global Entry. From just a picture of her face from a picture of her face at a protest. She goes, I lost my TSA PreCheck.
I heard about that too.
Yeah.
And like, it's tough. I'm kind of conflicted about it in a lot of ways. So you can't unmake the tool. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, you can't unmake it. The thing is, it would exist at some point. At some point, based on general American exceptionalism with all the companies that kind of come up here, someone was going to make it.
Yeah.
There is with the Anduril stuff with Palmer Luckey is he's basically like, someone's going to come up with all this stuff. He's like, I'd rather it be America than China, which I do agree with. And Anduril makes some pretty cool shit.
He's cool. He seems like a really cool guy.
Yeah.
The thing with the Palantir is it's like, it would be one thing if you had this giant database on everybody, if like you were a somewhat respectable and benevolent government, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
is there such a thing? What you just said, respectable and benevolent government. Does that exist anywhere?
Somewhat.
Oh, even somewhat. Does that exist anywhere?
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does for sure.
Okay.
All throughout human history, they just were various. It's like we're just at the end of like our entropy right now, our entropy cycle, where like everything is very high chaos and high stagnation at the same time. So it's just like tearing at the seams. But things do get good. Things are good. People are good. Organizations do good all the time.
Sure. Yeah, individually. But I mean, like in terms of governments. I'm sure they've existed in the past. I'm just talking about more like currently. Are there some, current governments you go, oh, these are the best guys, no corruption, nothing.
Off the top, well, it's not. There's corruption in every organization. There's corruption at a grocery store. You know what I mean? But
that's true.
Off the top of my head, I mean, I'm a right-wing chud, but El Salvador is like killing it right now, as far as I can tell.
They've certainly turned it around. I mean,
everything's trade-offs, but their trade-offs seem to be like overwhelmingly positive. So.
For the most part, yeah, I would agree. I'm sure there's some people who probably should not be in CCOT, but for the most part, I mean, to go from like one of the highest murder rates on Earth to like essentially zero, pretty impressive.
Yeah, like safer than Eastern Europe is pretty insane. Also, the thing with the innocent imprisonment thing is it's like you always hear that thing where it's like better 10 guilty men go free than one innocent in prison. It's like, okay, there's a certain ratio where that's true. There's also a certain ratio where that's obviously not true. Like that is not a universal. That's not an objective principle.
I mean, that's more of like an ethical dilemma, I guess. Where I mean, from a practical standpoint, where you're like, the thing is you're like, yeah, obviously, I would rather like there is some number like where someone were like, yeah, I'd rather, one person be in jail versus 1,000 guilty men go free. But the problem is that that one person is an actual person. And they're just like, well, this sucks for me. I'm glad I'm keeping 1,000 people in jail, but like it blows for me. And I'm in jail with these guilty people.
Yes. And like, obviously that's worth it, but there's clear solutions to that. So I've worked, delivery and sale. Like I did delivery and sales, and we kept track of all the numbers and the warehousing and everything. So like we knew basically exactly what our error rate was.
Yeah.
So, like how much shit was going missing, and it's basically no matter what, and it's a nationwide conglomerate. So you can see like every store's error rate and compare them. And basically no matter what, the minimum human error rate is somewhere around between like 0.1% and 1%. You know what I mean? Like you never.
Yeah, you're never going to be. It's never going to be perfect. Impossible.
So the ratio of like innocent to guilty is about 1 to 100, and then you have your appeals and compensation process for those who are guilty. And like that's pretty much just what you have.
I mean, look,
and then like
especially in this country, like there's innocent people in jail. Like there's innocent people who have been executed. There's innocent people in jail. It's just a nature of, and there's probably everywhere in any country there's innocent people in jail. You're just like, yeah, it's just kind of part of the deal. They fuck up. They fuck up, and, but it definitely sucks to be those guys. I mean, I'm sure if you were an innocent person in jail, you would change your tune on this probably somewhat. You would be like, yeah.
I don't think so. I'm one of the few people I think where my political worldview were implemented, I might actually be worse off.
Yeah. Interesting. How so?
Well, I'm just like not. I mean, I might be better off as a whole, but it's like I'm very right wing, but I'm not very economically competent, let's say. So it's like I wouldn't really benefit at all from this system that I think is like lowest entropy or like has the best.
The best system wouldn't benefit you. Would it make you worse off?
I guess no. I guess I would say it wouldn't make me worse.
It wouldn't make you worse off, but overall, you would be better off. You just wouldn't be economically worse off.
That's true. That's true. If everything else gets better, yeah.
Yeah, and you just stay the same, then you'd be good. All right, I gotta let you go. I gotta wrap this up, unfortunately. But thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna take one more call. I'm sorry if I didn't get to you. There's a few of you I'm not gonna get to. I do apologize for that. Go sign up for the Patreon. Patreon.com/lowvaluemail. If you have any ideas for what I can do for content for the Patreon, please let me know. And we got a new episode of The Bathhouse tomorrow night, 9 p.m. live from the Stand Comedy Club in Green Room. At least 3 episodes left. All right, this person's not picking up. Oh, and they did pick up. Hello.
Hey, Danny, I was just waiting for you to finish your sentences.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to talk about Cuba, but I was thinking about your stand-up that you've done in the past, and I was thinking about like a story in my life. So I was at a work conference with some colleagues. We were in Istanbul, a city you were Tinder hunting in one time.
Yes, I've been to Istanbul.
Yeah,
great
Tinder too.
Great city.
Anyway, so one of the friends, the colleagues, he went to bed early. And my other friend, there was a way to access all of the windows and there's like a cobblestone, whatever thing, with the rocks. Anyway, he was able to get across and he knocked on his window and then, surreptitiously went back. And in the morning, when he accused him of knocking, he countered, you knocked. And he kept this going the whole time. And this has been going on for maybe 10 years. And just like gaslighting, it is a good prank.
That is funny. That's a funny
prank.
Like
your stand-up. You're talking about gaslighting. I'm just like, it like that is a funny prank. Like we do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And just basically to the point where you just drive him
over
nuts.
10 years. This is a recurring joke. It's just rich, this gaslighting.
That is
that
very funny.
This is still an ongoing thing. And I have to, the world knows. Anyway, I was talking about Cuba.
Yeah.
And just like this, you've been to Cuba. I think I'm Canadian, been to Cuba.
Yes, I've been to Cuba a number of times.
So, they're basically shutting down Veradero now. They have already shut down Keokoko.
Really? Like for tourism?
Their number one economy is doctor coercion, right? They send their doctors abroad and they force them. They basically...
Yeah, they send them. That was the deal. That's how they got their oil, was basically trading doctors.
Right, they send them. So they doctor
security.
and they basically they take a fee and they give the doctor a little bit. The number 2 is tourism.
Yeah.
And the number 1 is Canada. And so Canada is now... there's nobody flying there anymore, so that's dead.
And what's the reason? Why is nobody going to Cuba from Canada?
There's no fuel.
There's no fuel. Oh, they just can't run the country.
They literally cannot.
Wow.
So they're right now in a death spiral. There's no getting out of this. What's next now? Because this is pretty much was their last lifeline, was Canadian tourism.
So
and now Sunwing, Air Canada, nobody will fly there now. Nobody's flying in.
That's crazy. I had no idea about that. Yeah, well, right. I guess if you're you can't reliably leave there, then that's that. I mean, time to cut a deal with America, I guess.
I don't think they're going to cut a deal, though. I think the regime is going to hold on, and this is going to get really... I don't think there's going to be any kind of clean transition. I don't think Marco is going to be president next year.
No, I don't think Marco Rubio is going to be president next year. Although, again, he is a Cuban American. So
maybe 5
years. He's got a fucking...
5 years.
He has a
one
hard
day,
on.
though. One day.
Maybe. I mean, if he became president of Cuba, he could probably turn that place around into a fucking the Cuba of the 50s, a real good place to live. Yeah, I don't know. Unless they're somehow, they probably can't even get oil from Russia or China.
Nobody.
Nobody. Right?
There's just so many things going on that these scabs. There's so many in the last few years that have just been status quo for so long, just crumbling in just a very short order, just one after another. Hard to keep track of all the happenings. But
from
Cuba,
what I understand,
about to collapse.
Yeah, they were even with getting free oil from Venezuela, they were kind of hanging on by a thread at all times. So, I mean, at some point, if food's not reliably available there, which I imagine, I'm sure they're having massive power outages. There's probably going to be water issues. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It'll be something crazy. Either they're having a crazy humanitarian issue, at which point maybe America just goes in and you're all right, well, we're not going to let, I don't know how many millions of people live in Cuba, but not going to let them die. Not 60 miles from the coast of Florida. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure Cuba didn't see this coming. Maybe they did, but I mean, if you shut them off from having oil, you're you could see how stuff would get really bad really fast. I had no idea that the tourism stuff was just over there.
So this is just recently. So they've issued notice to all airmen, no flights in because there's no way to get out. You wouldn't be able to take leave again. And there's nothing coming. There's naval embargo in place. Air was the only thing that they were really doing.
Yeah, this is literally 1 minute ago. City News: WestJet is suspending its winter flight program to Cuba, and initiating an orderly wind down of operations amid a deepening fuel crisis that is now disrupting. Holy shit, Cuba is fucked. Yeah, I mean, look, like Marco Rubio and Trump have said in the last like month, they go, yeah, Cuba has a real problem. They do not have a lot of time. So I don't know. I mean, you can guess that they're not going to just willfully concede here.
No,
just be
like
all right,
regime.
you got us.
They're like the KGB people. They're people that were protecting Maduro. Like they're the fanatical people. The real revolutionaries.
Yeah,
they're not just going to cut a deal with the Americans.
That's crazy. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think it sounds like there is like some, like the U.S. is basically stopping even if like Russia or China wanted to give them oil. I don't think the U.S. is.
They're not capable. Russia is not really capable now.
I don't even think they're allowed though.
They can't do anything.
Yeah,
nobody can help them. Everybody's just helpless to. Their regional interests these days.
It says right here,
Cuba is the latest domino to fall.
Sunwing removed 26 Cuban hotels from its offering due to constant blackouts currently affecting the country.
Yeah, so what was happening was they were basically, this was just a little while ago, they've been managing this crisis. So there was like the northern part of Cuba, and for the American listener, Cuba is like kind of just a discount vacation spot. It's not as good if you go to Mexico or even the Dominican
it's
Republic.
the worst. It is the.
I
remember
it's kind of for cheap, and it's full of French, Canadians.
French Canadians. I remember like 15 years ago, you could go to like one of these like shitty like 3-star, which is more like a 1-star or like 2-star all inclusives for a week for like $500 Canadian for like a week.
Very, very inexpensive. And the locals are there throwing the chicken wings and the bones in the pool and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like
good.
they're parts of the parts of Cuba are essentially for only tourists. And what's interesting about Cuba is that in their economy, you can be a doctor or, a lawyer. You're making less than somebody who is interacting with tourists.
Yeah. That was always the thing where
rich people in the country. And so now that these resorts are closed down, these people that were in the power brokers around the tour have nothing. Now they have lost.
I remember that was a thing there where you're like, the guy who runs like the show at the resort, like he makes more than a doctor because he gets tips. Like, tourists give him, like a few US dollars here and there. Like that guy makes more than a doctor because he probably makes like
they would
50 or $100 a week.
They would sell on the black market. They couldn't get toiletries. They couldn't get like
that was another thing when I went
and stuff.
When I went there, like I remember my ex-girlfriend at the time or my girlfriend at the time, but that was the thing when you go to Cuba, you bring like we went to the Dollarama and we bought all these like like toothbrushes and toiletries because they're like they can't get these, and we gave them to like the like the housekeepers and stuff and like the guys who like worked at the hotel, and they were like so thankful for it because it was like I remember thinking like really they can't get this stuff, and they were like no they can't.
They sell it on the black market, but
maybe they sell it, but it's a huge deal to just give them like some toothpaste and some toothbrushes and shit.
Anyway, Cuba on the brink. Interesting to see what happens.
Wild.
I'm sure you're trying to wrap up the show. So.
Yeah. Cool, man. Thanks for calling in. Wild. I had no idea about that Cuba was that close to the brink. I thought they had 6 months. I guess not. All right, guys. That's been the show. Thank you very much for joining me tonight on an all-new episode of Low Value Mail. Catch a new episode of The Bathhouse tomorrow night. If you are so inclined, if you like to support the show, patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL. Otherwise, give us a like, give us a comment. Shout out to Gerard on the 1s and 2s. Can't do it without him. We will catch you. Oh, man. So I saw someone say cigars. Yeah, that might be Cohibas. It might be real hard to come by right now. Maybe non-existent. I imagine they can't be cranking those out. I don't know you need oil in some part of the supply chain to get those. And yes, US dollars are illegal in Cuba, but you do it anyways. All right. That's been the show. Thank you very much for joining me. I will catch you all tomorrow night or next week. Good night, Scroats.
all my shit heroic. Empathic abilities, yeah, my face be also stoic. Bleep, blow up, nigga, that just means I'm working. They see me as a leader, so that's why I'm Captain Kirkin. These tracks from the stars, that much is for certain. You can feel this hit if you up or if you hurtin'. I'm raising my stock, not talking my feet in some Birkin. Number Johnny 5, got a fucking short circuit. Bring the track to life when I spit phenomenally. When I hit, she feel that shit in her abdominals. These rappers make me laugh like comic view, they comical. You know I got a ball out, I hit the track running just like Sonic do. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. They was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. And they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. Now we pulling up fresh on some flight shit. Ha. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. They was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. Then they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah. I'm pulling up fresh on some